I suppose, when you come back into the training there in late November, early December, you're just focusing in on the work and trying to get the buy-in, I suppose, in terms of the attitude to training, and try and bring some of that training work into the matches, as you're going along. Like, these are pre-season games, and it's a great competition from that perspective. I think there's a lot of value in it for all the counties that participate, in terms of giving opportunities to maybe some of the lads who may not have got major amounts of game last year. Maybe lads come back from injury, and the younger panellists coming into the panels as well. So I find it a great competition in that regard, and I think you look at the crowds that turned up as well to the matches across the course of the competition. They were very, very strong, and I think the public, there's an appetite out there for games, this time of the year, and the public are anxious to get up and running themselves. The teams are anxious to get going, but the public are too. So, from our perspective, listen, we've had a very positive pre-season. We've 2 more weeks to go on it, and we'll be back in the horse Tuesday night again.
You scored just over 30 points. Very impressive, but I suppose you will be looking at you had a lot of wides early in that first half as well.
Yeah, we weren't altogether satisfied with the first half performance. The energy levels weren't where we wanted them to be, and the execution of what we were trying to do wasn't there either. We struggled to get the quality ball that we wanted to into the inside forward line. And we addressed a few issues at half time, and we just asked the players for more energy in the second half, and they gave it. And you could see that from the get-go in the second half. There was a lot more energy about them and a lot more urgency in our play, and we just executed what we were trying to do much better.
Cork did start well, 5 points, but once you got that goal by Ardon Galan, it seemed to set a foundation for your win.
Yeah, I suppose goals win matches, they say, but they can maybe stint the spirit of the opposition a little bit too. But I think overall it was more to do with just the way we used the ball in the second half, and I think our ball winning in the forward line was much better as well. We were winning primary possession in our inside line much better than we were in the first half. And when you can win primary possession in the opposition half, you're going to give yourself a chance. So players supported each other. It was good runs coming off the shoulder. We showed plenty of energy right to the very end. So just happy with the out now.
The National Hurling League is 2 weeks away. You are the champions of that. That, as always, will be competitive. What will be your approach to it this year? What will you want to get out of it?
Listen, we'll be just taking it game by game. We've got the Fitzgibbon Cup to contend with now over the next number of weeks. It starts again tomorrow. So we've got to wait and see how those teams are, and those players involved with those teams, how they progress through the competition. We've got to give them the space to play a meaningful part for their colleges. It's very important to me, and it's very important to all of us involved with the team, that the players playing Fitzgibbon get that opportunity. It's part of their development as players, and playing for their college means an awful lot to them, so that's really important. And as regards the league itself, then we'll take it one game at a time. We'll obviously try and use as wide a berth of players as we possibly can, to make sure that everybody coming into the championship season has had a good body of game time on the pitch. And it's up to the players now. There's a fine competitive squad there. They're going to have to work really, really hard in training to put their hand up and make sure that they're included on match day squads.
And finally, John, you've used a lot of younger players. You brought some of the, we'll call them elder statesmen, back onto the field tonight as well. So everybody, it must be coming along nicely for you.
Well, I just think that there's a very good competitive edge to what we're doing at the moment within the squad. Every single player I think involved has had some game time at this stage, and I think coming back to training next Tuesday night, it'll be interesting to see where fellas' mindsets are at. I think if fellas take their eye off the ball, they're going to lose out, and I don't see that happening, because the attitude at the moment is bang on point. So just got to keep it going, keep working hard. There's a long road ahead. It's a long season, and we'll just take it one game at a time during the course of the league, and hopefully we'll have some good positive performances.
Those lads that you did bring back this weekend, what do you think of them? How do you think they went?
Yeah, I think everybody contributed. Like the Fitzgibbon Cup probably helped us in some respects in terms of identifying the panel for tonight's game, because we only had what we had. We had the Bear 22, so it made it pretty straightforward in terms of team selection. But I think some of the more experienced players will say now, they've been working hard for the last number of weeks. Okay, they haven't been getting an awful lot of game time, but at the same time they're anxious to get back on the pitch and get going themselves as well. So I think everybody contributed
Is the
to the performance.
Is the squad finalised for the league yet, or is there anybody out injured who will miss the Tipperary match?
We've a couple of guys with knocks, a couple of lads with a couple of longer, Shane Dowling's injury is going to probably rule him out for the league at the moment. Pat Ryan's injury will probably rule him out for the league, but at the same time we have to give them the time and the chance to see how the recovery goes, so we'll monitor that on a kind of weekly basis. Other than that, Declan Hannon is back full training since this week. Didn't want to play him tonight because he's after coming off the back of a groin strain and he needed a bit of time to get that right. And William O'Donoghue is coming off of a bit of a niggly injury that he's shaken off, and he's back full training as well. So we're gradually getting there. There's no rush. It's only the 11th of January, so we're giving these players proper rehabbing and give them a chance to make sure that when they do play that they're strong enough to withstand what will be asked of them, and that they don't end up going back getting injured again. So it's about getting a bit of consistency in their training so that they're strong enough to perform.
Tell us about the experiment of Barry Nash playing in the half back line. It mightn't be an experiment now at this stage. He seemed to excel in the last few games.
I don't think it's an experiment at all now, because we made this decision early last year that he was going to go back into the half back line and contend there. We needed greater reserves back there, and Barry's got a lot of aptitude. He's very fast and he's got good hands, and I think he's done a fantastic job in going back there and working hard in his game, and he's very focused, working really, really hard, and that's all I can ask him.